Good evening, everyone. Welcome you all to the demo meeting today. Curious to know what actually happens in the Toastmaster meeting? Here we are, orators in the cloud, Toastmasters Club, to give you a demo of how it works. As I take up the role of Sergeant at Arms for the meeting today, I would like to lay the ground rules. The most important thing in communication is to hear what is not said. Facial expression, gesture, eye contact, and body language.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I guess there is some communication issues at the end of our Sergeant at Arms, Fatima, who is supposed to start the meeting. Anyway, I'll take it from her. I'll in fact speak her ending lines. And now I hand it over to our Presiding Officer, Hind. Thank you, Fatima. Good morning, people from Dublin, and good afternoon/evening to people here in India. What Fatima did not complete and what the ground rules that she was laying were one of the most important thing in these meetings is for us to better our interaction as much as possible. And for that, it'd be great if all of you could turn on your cameras. Trust me, nobody looks perfect at home, and it's entirely fine. We are here to speak more than to look at each other, but because that improves interaction, let's try to turn on our cameras. Wow, thank you all who did, and for people who have not, I request you again, please do. Another ground rule for this meeting is please avoid speaking when some other speaker is speaking on the panel. Please keep yourself on mute when somebody else is speaking. And the third ground rule is please avoid speaking on the taboo topics. The taboo topics for Toastmasters are sex, politics, and religion. Please avoid speaking on those. With that, let me welcome you all to our Toastmasters demo meeting. It is great. I must say it is great to see so many names on the roster. It is surreal. I was not expecting this much patronage. Before I begin, I would like to extend my gratitude to each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedule and attending this demo meeting. I certainly hope and I certainly believe that it'd be worth your time and you'd find value at the end of it. The what, how, and why of the Toastmasters will be explained and more importantly shown to you throughout this meeting. But I'd still like to talk to you about my why, the why that I used when I began with Toastmasters. I began with Toastmasters only because I was interested in public speaking, and it was fascinating to me to see if I can effectively present myself in front of a crowd without entirely losing my mind. And one turning point for me when I joined was this quote that was shared early on with us when we were being prodded to join. And that quote goes like this: communication is not optional. Let's think about that quote for a brief amount of time. And let's think about that in two primary and exhaustive scenarios, probably exhaustive scenarios: global and local. And when I use these terms, I use them with respect to an individual. If you think about your life globally, most of us are not even halfway through our lives, and many of us are not even halfway through our professional lives. Professionally, if you want to transition from being an individual collaborator to managing people, team, and projects, you would want to be there, or some of you are already there. You might also want to share your knowledge to the larger public because it holds value to others. And it wouldn't be too wild to assume that you would want to be a public figure. What's wrong with hoping? And the most important aspect of being a public figure is necessarily public. Now, on the other extreme, if you look at your life locally, today you interact with a lot of people on a regular basis. You meet with them, you discuss your projects with them, you write your own ideas and try to convince them of your ideas. You communicate, you put forth your concerns and comments to other people's ideas. And aside from all the work, you cultivate and nurture your personal relationship in your life and with some of us at Arista as well. Now, in all these cases, I must say, communication is not optional. And there's this another quote that I very strongly believe in. You can have the greatest and the most profound thought in your head, but it is of no use to anybody other than you. And if there is something that humans have achieved over the past tens of thousands of years, it is by collaborating together to build great things and even relationships. What is in your head, no matter how great, will not be worth anything until you present it to others. And communication, effective communication, is the key to it. With that, I leave you to the rest of our very capable crew to continue this meeting forward, beginning with our Toastmaster of the day. Please put your hands together in welcoming Toastmaster Akshaya.
Thank you, Hind. I'm going to start with a little riddle. Let me see who gets it. In my crowning glory, I could be 775 rooms richer, 95 offices working together in order, 40 gardens grooming my beauty, or I could just squeeze myself into 92 and 152 centimeters in width. I could be single, double, triple, or whatever grand amount that you can fantasize and think about. I could be your ambition, your passion, your comfort, your chaos. I could be a cabin. I could be a garage. I could be a carriage. I could be a chalet. I could be a cave. I could be a castle. I could be a chateau. But I could also be where the heart is. Or I can also be where all hell break loose. They say that the best journey takes you to me. Who am I? Any guesses in the house? I'll give the next clue. I am Hugo to the Spanish. I am Carsa to the Italian. I'm Mason to the French. And I'm Hind to the Dutch. What am I to the world?
Toastmaster.
Oh, that's a good guess, but not exactly correct.
A home?
Yes, a home. It is what I was just describing a home in whatever ways that I could think of. So Toastmasters, before I get the day started or before I get our evening started, I'm going to give a little task to all of you. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. I would ask the timer to time me. You can choose to change your virtual background to whatever you wanted to. Any dream place, any dream home that you wanted to live in. We have a little prize at the end for the best background. So I give you 30 seconds. Here is your chance. Dig in. I want to see some activity on the background. So this is the only way where I can see some color, given that we are not meeting in person. So I wanted the timer to time me. Just 30 seconds. You can change your virtual background to whatever you wanted to.
I've never done this before on Zoom. I will need more time, sorry.
Okay, so we can take 1 minute. So you have to go to your video and there you can see choose virtual background and you can choose to change it to whatever that you want to do. Some dream place, some background that you really, really like. It could be a home, it could be a place. It could also be a person in case if you want just to see someone. Okay, I don't see many changes. People can't hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Maybe most people's dream home is the one that they're sitting in right now.
Okay, I would like to think it that way.
Yep, 1 minute's up.
Okay, so 1 minute is up. I did not see many changes, so I would like to take his word for it. So just as it was difficult for me to convince many of you to change your virtual background now, a man
almost 100 years ago felt the same difficulty. He had lot of problems communicating with his men and women, and he decided that he would formulate an entire program to educate them how to speak, conduct meetings, plan, and work together as a community. So this man decided to call it Toastmasters. When I stepped into my first ever Toastmasters meeting, I was wondering what is Toast and what is Master and how do they combine to become this Toastmaster. So 100 years ago, this man decided to challenge that. So any idea what a Toastmaster means in the house? What does a Toastmaster actually mean today? Okay, I'm not gonna waste time. Toastmaster is somebody who can raise toasts at banquets and at public gatherings. He is not afraid to take the podium and he's not afraid to take in charge of the situation. So hola Toastmasters and Toastmasters to be. I am Akshaya, and today my job is to help you navigate the meeting from one logical half to another. There are three components that are extremely key to a Toastmasters meeting. The first being impulse. Second, practice. Third is perfection. Though perfection comes a little later in principles, it comes kind of first in the play actually. So we have architects who will design and lead each and every dedicated component of this meeting. Now that was too much of talking and I can see a little bit of boredom. So I'm going to kind of try to pepper the situation by asking one more puzzle. Let me see if any Bangaloreans can get it right. Bangalorean is the clue here. So I'm going to read this quote, which is written on a very famous building in Bangalore. Famous as is the best word to describe it. My Kannada is not good, so pardon me any natives in the house. Sarkarada kelase, devara kelasa. It means that government work is God's work. Any guesses? This is the one word that describes this entire building.
I have an unfair advantage here,
Okay.
but yeah, the answer is out there.
Yeah.
The answer is Vidhan Sabha. So Vidhan Sabha is the largest legislative assembly and it is present in Bangalore. So with that, I'm going to get the meeting started. As I said, there are three components which are key to a Toastmaster meeting, and they are impulse, perfection, which came third. Second was practice. So perfection comes third, but in the real game, it comes first. So we have an architect for today, the chief architect in the house, who will help us to design or kind of perfect the perfection. So leading this perfection game is our chief juror of the day. We call them the general evaluator in Toastmasters dictionary. So let's welcome Toastmaster Abhijit Kaul on the screen to explain his role. Please welcome Toastmaster Abhijit.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akshaya. What a wonderful start to this wonderful session. I am Toastmaster Abhijit, and I hereby welcome all of you wonderful Toastmasters fraternity, as well as a huge style of Toastmasters guests that is just so pleasant to see. 5 years ago, when I started my Toastmasters journey in Arista headquarters Toastmasters Club, right before that, I had thought I didn't need Toastmasters. Somebody told me it's something to do with communication skills. And I was like, okay, I did come from a country which English is not the native language. So I did have some difficulties, but I read and wrote in English all my life. I spoke to people in my different jobs in English. I did my master's in the US. That was all in English. So why do I need Toastmasters? That was until I got my first evaluation. And that's when I realized communication skills is much more than just being able to speak in English and just be able to get by. Ladies and gentlemen, communication skills, just like any other skill, requires continuous practice. Now, you can practice as much as you want to, but the unfortunate reality is, unless somebody is guiding you and giving you evaluation and conscious and empathetic evaluation at every step and point, to help you start from the first level and go to the nth level, the change would be minuscule. Take an example of a work meeting. we always consciously or subconsciously evaluate the clarity with which somebody presents their ideas, or the effectiveness with which something is proposed in a technical discussion. The missing piece is that evaluation in your mind never reaches back to the speaker. If all of us could get that on a regular basis, I'm sure all of us would be way more effective and way more clear in our communication, and that's only going to take us places. Thankfully, in Toastmasters, they really took this thing seriously and incorporated it very consciously into the overall structure of the program. My role as General Evaluator today is to spearhead a panel of evaluators who are going to look at different aspects of people who come here to speak in front of you, and at the end come back in the evaluation section and point out not only the things that these people are doing really well, but also suggest some of the things that they can do in order to become a much better version of themselves. Just as I told, I'll come back in the evaluation section to present the general evaluation of the overall session. But now it's time to introduce my evaluation panel. Without further ado, let's get started with the first member of this evaluation panel, the timer of the day. You already saw some of the screen of at least one person in this huge tile change colors. What's the reason behind that and what's it for? Let's hear it from the man himself. Please welcome the timer of the day, Toastmaster Srinivasan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhijit. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us by J.R.R. Tolkien. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I am Srinivasan and I am the timer of the day. My job here is to make sure that the meeting goes smoothly according to the agenda on time. Today, we have 3 different types of speeches which have been planned. I hope you have a great time. We have a general speech by Ram, followed by table topic speeches, and finally, the evaluation of the speech. As you have seen before, I will be showing milestone cards for all the speeches to inform the speaker on the time they have taken. To ensure that you are able to see my timer cards, please switch to the gallery view in the Zoom call when it is your turn to speak. If you have not seen it before, the option is available at the top right corner of your screen. For the general speech, the time allotted is from 5 to 7 minutes. So to give an example of how I'm going to show the timer cards, I'll be describing only one instance here. So please take note. I'll be showing a green card at the end of 5 minutes. Let me just do it for you now. So I'll be showing a green card. And then when the time is around 6 minutes, I'll be showing a yellow card. And at the end of 7 minutes, I'll be showing a red card. Similarly, I'll be doing the same process for the table topic speeches, where the time allotted for each speaker is from 1 minute to 2 minutes. And finally, we have the evaluations of the speech, for which the time allotted is from 1 minute to 3 minutes. All the best to all the speakers. Over to you, Toastmaster Abhijit.
Thank you, Toastmaster Srinivasan, for elaborating on the role and the important thing that to keep in mind, which is time. I wonder how I would fare if somebody would actually start showing me the red card when my status meeting is going way over. That would definitely ruffle some feathers, but I'm sure that's something that's really important for us to keep in mind. So thank you for elaborating on that. Moving ahead, for any of you who has actually been to Bangalore, for people who are here, obviously you see that every day, but for my friends in Dublin, if you've ever come here to Bangalore and got a chance to be a passenger or drive on these roads, you would understand what potholes do to a driving experience. We have an analogy in Toastmasters when it comes to how effective your oratory skills are, and there are some potholes that actually can make that experience really bad. To learn more about what that is, let me welcome the next member of the evaluation panel, Toastmaster Bhargav. Please welcome Toastmaster Bhargav, who is the AhCounter for today.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhijit. Good evening, one and all. It's good to see such a huge crowd in the video call today. I'm gonna be the AhCounter for today's meeting. As an AhCounter, my job is to look for CRPFs in your speech. Well, in the real world, CRPF might mean Central Reserve Police Force. But in the context of Toastmasters, CRPF means crutch words, repetitions, pauses, and filler words. Crutch words as in aha, pauses as in pauses in between the speech, repetitions as in repeating the words. And filler words as in so, okay, you know, because, etc. The use of these words disrupts the flow of the speech, as Abhijit has indicated. And they might, the usage of these words might sometimes render the speech uninteresting for the listener. So as an AhCounter, my job is to literally count the number of times you've used these words in your speech and present a detailed report at the end of the meeting. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bhargav. Now that the stepping stones required to become that great orator everyone always dreamt of has been done, it's time to get into listening to some real speakers who have practiced some of these skills over time and are going to showcase their oratory skills to everybody here. To take us forward into that section, I'm going to hand it back to the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Akshaya. Oh, sorry, my bad. I actually forgot one evaluator panel. So apart from, we talked about ahs and ums, how that experience can be really bad, but we also want to continue to advance on the communication ladder. At some point of time, using simple words needs to be replaced by using some better words. Grammar becomes important. So does so many advanced aspects of communication for any language. We have a special person in the house who is going to not only tell us how to work on it, but also going to help us improve some of these things we might have never associated with maybe not a great usage of grammar. Now that I've already mentioned what this person is, please welcome the next evaluation panel. He is the Grammarian. Please welcome Toastmaster Sumedh.
Thank you, General Evaluator Arjun. My job as a grammarian is pretty straightforward, and I'll not beat around the bush. It is, if you screw up any part of your speech with respect to grammar, I'll take a note of it, and I will write it down with total vigor. And at the end of the meet, I will let you know. That's all I am going to do. However, if you do something really good, if you use your language in a way that delights people around, I'll take a note of that too, and I'll highlight that. As simple as that. One other thing, which I feel is an honor, but according to the Toastmasters lingo is an additional responsibility of a grammarian, is to introduce what we call the word of the day. So in every meet, we come up with a distinct word of the day, which people are obliged to use. It's not a rule, but you are morally obliged to use. Otherwise, why are we even trying to, increase our vocabulary? So what I'll be doing now is providing you a word of the day, and what you would try to do is use it while you speak up. Okay, that's the challenge here. So the word of the day today is tenderfoot. Tenderfoot means a newcomer or a newbie. I felt that this, at a demo meeting, this somehow felt apropos to me. So I thought, let's go with this. What does a tenderfoot mean? A tenderfoot, again, as a newcomer, how would you actually use it? One of the best usages of tenderfoot would be the way I was described when I was in my internship here. Don't underestimate him just because he's a tenderfoot, right? That's when my mother woke me up from my dream. But anyway, keeping that aside, so another pro tip which I have seen from my previous experience here is speak slowly. It's okay. Slow and steady wins the race. So you can speak slowly and still end up with a pretty good speech. As I see my time is running out, I would wish all of you the very best, all the speakers the very best. And I will like to hand over the mic back to the GE of the day, Abhijit Kaul. Thanks.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sumedh. So let's do this summary one more time. So if you want people to not zone out and listen to what you're saying, weave within the time. Our timer is going to take care of that. If you want people to be delighted or at least be engaged by what you're saying, try to take care of these filler words that creep into our speech. And finally, if you want to get to a point where you are going to mesmerize your audience, well, you also want to take some lessons on the grammarian from our grammarian and also want to incorporate that word of the day that will really make you feel, make your audience feel like you are really scoring out of the park. All right, again, time to get back to the speakers for today, and to take us to that section, let's please welcome back the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Akshaya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhijit. So now it's time to get to the meat of the meeting, and that is a serious business. So before we take on the serious business, let's take an unserious break. I'm not sure if unserious is a word. I did not take time to check it. So I'm going to throw in the next puzzle, and I'm going to expect some answers because this one is closer to our second home today, which is in Europe. I am Ireland's most popular tourist attraction, or they can even call me home of the black stuff. I offer visitors a unique chance to assimilate 25-year-old history, which will culminate in a perfectly pinned overlooking from the rooftop, which is the gravity bar that is present on top of it. What is this historic monument that I'm talking about, which is in Ireland? Was I choppy in between? Okay. I'm going to repeat this again. I said this is unserious. This is unserious stuff. Okay? I am Irish most popular tourist attraction. They call me the home of the black stuff. I offer all my visitors a unique chance to assimilate the 250-year-old history of the country, which is basically this beverage that is homegrown. Well, I also house a rooftop restaurant, which offers you the perfect taste of this beverage that you can ever get. What is this historic monument?
Guinness.
Yes, someone got this right. It's Guinness. It is a brewery, which is in...
I was going to say the clouds, but Guinness is the answer, yeah. The rain.
Yes, the answer is Guinness. So, as I said, it was time for some unserious stuff. So this is a brewery, which is present in Ireland. So now it's time to talk business. It's time to get to the meat of the meeting. And to navigate us to the meat of the meeting, when I say meat of the meeting, what is that component of Toastmaster I'm referring to? I'm going to reiterate the three components: impulse, perfection, and one more thing which I missed out in between: practice. So here is the meat of the meeting, wherein we would display how practice can eventually lead to perfection. To get the meat of the meeting started, or to start cooking the meat of the meeting, I'm going to invite Toastmaster Arjun, who will explain to us his role. Please welcome Toastmaster Arjun, who will be evaluating our speaker today. Toastmaster Arjun, take it away.
A very good afternoon, everyone. My name is Arjun Khattri, and my role for today is to evaluate Toastmaster Ram's speech. When I picked the role, I wasn't aware of the speaker. Later, I came to know I'm supposed to evaluate my manager. I guess there is no pressure at all. The speech is his second speech for presentation mastery, which is the pathway he has chosen. Pathways in Toastmasters are various approaches followed towards public speaking. Each pathway has different sets of assignments. My pathway is engaging humor because I wish to be funny so that my friends can acknowledge my sense of humor. Today, Toastmaster Ram's speech is his level 1 project 2 speech for his pathway. The objective of the speech is to give a speech on any topic, receive feedback after the speech, and incorporate the learnings into his next activity. The duration of the speech would be 5 to 7 minutes. My job is to evaluate based on many criteria, such as content, clarity, vocal variety, eye contact, and also the audience awareness. With that, I would like to wish Ram all the best, and it's over to TMoD Akshaya for the proceedings.
Thank you, Toastmaster Arjun. So now, syndicating that we are getting to the highlight of the meeting, I have a little background. Any guesses in the house? I'm not going to ask any question. Any guesses? What is this iconic building? This also comes in Sherlock. I'm not going to give any
Harbor
exam. Yes, it is
Sydney,
the
right?
Harbor. Yes,
Sydney
it is in
Harbor.
Sydney. It is the Sydney Opera House. Yes,
Opera House.
one of the iconic things. Yes, Can you see? Okay. So one of the beauty about this building is that this is a photographer's delight. It is rated as the most photographed building in this entire world. Basically, it is the eye candy of Australia. So now it's time to get to what we believe is the USP of a Toastmaster meeting, possibly not an eye candy, but a little deeper than that. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together virtually to welcome our only speaker of the day, Toastmaster Ram. The 4 dimensions of weight management. The 4 dimensions of weight management, Toastmaster Ram. Take it away.
Good afternoon. How many of you have ever thought about your weight unfavorably? As in, I weigh too much, I want to drop a few pounds. Or, I'm too skinny, I want to add some muscle mass. Hands up, please. That's quite a few. That's no wonder that the global weight management market was worth $190 billion in 2018, and it's expected to grow to $270 billion, as reported by Business Wire. If you know, Business Wire is owned by the Berkshire Hathaway company led by Warren Buffett. No wonder that this is such a serious proposition in the international markets. Today, I'll present the findings of my research on weight management. I've organized them into 4 dimensions. I'm going to start with the most obvious, diet. In 1992, the US Department of Agriculture proposed the familiar food pyramid. Pick any grade school science book and you will find this diagram somewhere. It organizes food into a group of several visual hierarchical stages. It reminds us to consume a healthy portion and proportion of carbs, proteins, and fats. The fact that it doesn't differentiate between simple and complex carbs, good and bad fats, and does not take into account the constitution of consumers and to accommodate the sentiments of tenderfeet, its chief criticism resulted in this, and this paved the way for the entry of several other diet types. Paleo, you try and avoid all processed foods. Blood type diets. Raw food, vegan, Atkins, low fat, low sodium, Dukan, GI, detox, etc., etc. There's so many more. Each of them comes with its own reason that it exists. It has its own dedicated fan following and the criticism as well. This brings us to the next dimension. The medical community has never stopped reminding us that diet control by itself is no silver bullet. Rather, diet control and regular exercise need to be practiced together to maintain healthy weight. As with diets, there are several exercise techniques. Walking, running, cycling, swimming, yoga, Pilates, weight training, again with its own pros and cons. And this is not really new to us. A more interesting dimension is genetics. The hypothesis relating to genetics was very interesting. If genetics influences a person's height, why doesn't it influence a person's weight? Studies conducted between 1999 and 2007 on patients with type 2 diabetes led to the discovery of the FTO chromosome on chromosome 16. By the way, FTO was unkindly termed as fat cell. And this was really to show people that excess body fat was not really someone's fault. It was possibly inherited. And people like that were predisposed to developing type 2 diabetes. This conclusion opened up a Pandora's box of claims, counterclaims, proposals, arguments on the role of genetics in weight management. So much so that today there are companies that are in the business of predicting what our chances are for losing or gaining weight, among other things. One example of a company that provides this service is DNA Fit. Their modus operandi is very simple. You pay several $100s or pounds for the type of tests that you want, and the company sends you a kit by mail order. You send a sample of your buccal mucosa or the skin cells from the inside of your cheek to them. The results come out in a couple of weeks, and then you can find a whole bunch of things, including what's the optimal diet type for you? What is the carbohydrate and fat response? What about if you consumed salt or alcohol or caffeine? How sensitive are you to those factors in your diet? What's your lactose tolerance? What about if you did a lot of aerobic exercise, how would your body react, etc.? Moving on, in my response, the most interesting dimension to weight management relates to time. Time, yes, time. I don't mean you ignore managing your weight for so long until you become old and other bad things happen and then it doesn't bother you anymore. No, I don't mean that at all. The time dimension is so important that I'll tell you a little secret if you want to guess at it. The work in this area resulted in a Nobel Prize for Medicine in 2016. Can you guess what it is? Now, quoting from Wikipedia, the Japanese cell biologist Yoshinori Osumi, who won the Nobel Prize, said that cells recycle and renew their content in a process called autophagy, and fasting activates autophagy. You may well ask, what does this auto whatever have to do with weight management? Many diets focus on what to eat, but fasting, or to sound cool, intermittent fasting is all about when you eat. With intermittent fasting, you only eat during a specific time. Either you fast for several hours each day, or you eat a few meals every few days. After several hours without food, the body exhausts its sugar stores and starts burning fat. And with intermittent fasting, you're just trying to prolong the period when your body burns fat. In conclusion, I will leave you with these thoughts. I believe where there's a will, there are several ways. Try one or try all. Weight management is very similar to public speaking. If you're tired of starting over and over and over again, don't even stop the first time. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ram. So I just stomped at that because I just feel my entire 20 years of life just came in front of me listening to that. So with that, I'm going to ask you one more question, because this is how I'm going to prep you for the next session, because we are going to have a volley of questions which will be thrown at us in the next 15 minutes. So here is the last question, or possibly the penultimate question of the day. So you can see a little building in my background. So I'm going to give you 2 facts about this building. It is a very hard catch. It is quite far-fetched, but I'm going to give you 2 facts and see if anybody can revive their memory, or if anybody wants to take a shot now. That's great. No, it's not CS Tower. Did you? Yeah. Hello.
Is it Berlin? No?
I didn't get you. Hello.
Is it Berlin? The tower in Berlin?
No, it's not in Berlin. Okay, I'm gonna give.
It's a
I'm
CN
gonna.
Tower.
Yes, it's CN Tower. It's in Canada. This is the building which dethroned Burj Khalifa, which got dethroned by Burj Khalifa. And before that came up, this was the tallest building, or the tallest tower in the whole world. So now I'm going to leave you all with one more puzzle before I wrap this. All the buildings which I took name of in this entire session have a connection. I will reveal that connection at the end of this meeting. If anybody wants to take a guess, you're free to keep guessing. But all the buildings which I spoke about throughout the meeting have one metal link that links all of them. It is very, very non-technical, the answer is. So with that, I'm going to hand over the virtual stage to Toastmaster Shreya, who will be asking us more questions. Hopefully, we'll get more time to answer them. Toastmaster Shreya, take it away.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akshaya. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all of you present here, and it's lovely to see you all. Now is going to be the most fun session of any Toastmaster meeting. You can ask anyone and they will tell you this. So the session is table topics, and I am your table topics master for the day. What exactly, so few questions, right? What exactly is table topics? Why table topics? Let me start with the first. Table topics is basically an impromptu extempore style speaking where people are randomly come from the audience and they're given 1 to 2 minutes and they speak about topics that are handed over to them. At this point, I can sense a lot of dread in most people's faces here, and they're just hoping to disappear under their chairs and not come up their screen. So let me tell you one tip here. Nobody remembers. Nobody is going to remember today what you spoke today. You're the only person who remembers it. You know why? Because if you ask me when I sat in a demo meeting last year, who spoke, I have no idea. In fact, if you ask me who spoke as a table topic speaker in the last meeting that we had, I still have no idea. So the only person who knows what they have spoken is you. And this is the chance for you to improve. Now let me get to the next point. Why table topics? If you know, the most charming, intellectual people in the world are usually quite witty and quite on their feet. Given a chance to talk about something, when they're put on the spot, they handle it so well. And isn't that so charming to see? Isn't that something that we all wish to go towards? This is one opportunity that's given to you all, to us all, where you can make as many mistakes as you want until you keep getting better, and you are going to be sent back with an applause. In a real meeting, it would have been a resounding applause. Here, we ensure that we at least appreciate the efforts taken by you to come on stage. I can see the red card being flashed at me. So let's just start with the session. We are all tenderfeet here. I hope I've used that right. So we can start with the session. Can I please have someone volunteering? All right, kind of expected. Can I just pick someone then? Please feel free. Remember this, I'm going to tell you again, nobody apart from you remembers what you spoke. And that's the clue to being chill about this. All right, let me pick someone then. Navjot, would you like to give it a try?
Yeah, sure.
So can you pick a number from 1 to 7?
6.
6. Interesting. Tell us about, oh yeah, so before I get to that, let me just mention that you have 1 minute where the green card is flashed at you, 1.5 where the orange one, and you have basically 2 minutes to end your speech in, which is at that point, you'll have the red card flashed at you. So make sure that the timer Srinivasan is on your screen.
Yeah.
All right. So the topic is, tell us about one thing in your room or your home that you're embarrassed to own. I am going to put it here also for everyone.
Shreya, just one small request.
Yes.
When a speaker is going to start, just say you can start so that I can start the time.
Sure. Yeah, take it away, Navjot.
Yeah, so like it actually highlights a mischievous thing about my experience in Bangalore. So it was alcoholic beverage that I had left in my PG in Bangalore, but due to this unprecedented situation, I had to come home and leave half of the luggage there. And came back to home with half of the luggage. So this got extended like indefinitely. So I had to vacate the luggage at my PG. So we contacted some people that my father knew, so they helped pack the luggage from the PG and they couriered it back. So I was suspicious of that it might come into picture this time. So actually, so it the luggage arrived. So my dad told me that your suitcase has arrived. So like the tone which my dad used gave me a little bit of scared, I guess. So I went outside to unpack the luggage. So I immediately looked for although it was a short, it was smaller quantity, but even then I looked and I hid it in my pocket. But then my dad spoke about it, and he said that there was something controversial in the luggage. So I immediately took it out of my pocket and then just asked my dad that what was this the thing you were talking about. So like I had to take on the measures to take the blame of me. So I just said that it belonged to my roommate, but that's the thing. I could think that I'm a pedestrian right now. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Navjot. That's a very honest answer, and I really appreciate it. I'm sure it has happened to some of us back here at one point or another. So, can we have another volunteer? Somebody who wants to follow Navjot. You guys can speak up, or I'm just going to pick up names. Is that okay? Anupam, would you like to give this a try?
Hi, so hello. So the first thing, I am using the web version of this Zoom call, so I don't know how to put the timer here.
No, you just, you speak. Just make sure you have the timer card in your like in your.
Just interrupt me. Just interrupt me. That will be fine.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Would you like to pick a number between 1 and 6?
4.
4. Okay. So you are given 2 options to choose to settle in, either on a deserted yet bountiful tropical island or atop a scenic mountain cliff with no humans around. Which do you think would make you more happy to live in?
First one is?
I'm going to send it here.
Yeah.
So the question is sent to everybody. Given 2 options to settle in, deserted island or scenic mountain. And I'm going to start your time now. Take it away, Anupam.
Oh, this is tough one. So like, I would go for the deserted tropical island because it's an island. For starters, it's an island. I can build a raft and I can get out of there, right? And I can have my bounty with me. Like, so if it is a mountain and there is no one around, so I don't. It will be a lot harder, I think, than getting out of a mountain or cliff than getting out of a tropical island. So yeah, the first one. I would get out of there. I am not going to live there. Yeah.
All right, sure. Do you have anything else to add, or that's it?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, just an update, 43 seconds.
All right. One more person, please. Someone volunteer. It'll be fun. Okay, let me pick the. Okay, I see a hand up. Manish. Thank you so much. Thank you for being my savior for the day. Let me, can you choose a number between 1 and 5?
5.
5, okay. All right. Your question is, we have mostly been confined to our homes due to COVID now. How would you change the current room that you're in if there were no limits to the changes you could make?
Okay.
I have added your question here. And I'm going to start your timer now. Take it away, Manish.
Thank you. So I used my first term in the starting. Sorry. Given that the COVID thing has already happened and we are already in this scenario confined to our homes. So the thing is that in my home, there is a lot of disturbances around because my younger brother is there and people keep coming in, going out. So I have settled my office inside the basement of it, where I'm at right now. And I believe basement is the place where magic happens. It's like, I mean, basement and garages are the place. So what I would like to do is that I would like to improve this room by first of all, like getting big couches, so that sometimes I do my work and then just rest on the couch, and then again come back for work and then sit on couch. What else? I would also like to have a uh, giant monitor so that I can code. Like, and also a standing desk. I mean, personally, like, I feel that standing, I mean, doing coding while standing is much better as compared to sitting and doing that. So that's another thing that I would like to change. Apart from that, what else? So, like, I would like to relate it to the previous question. Like, if I can shift this entire thing to a mountain cliff atop a scenic, I would like enjoy it. So, yeah, I mean, I love humans, but uh, it's just that it would be fun, right, to see from the mountain cliff everything. I mean, that's how, if gods are, they would see the humans. Okay, with that, I would like to wrap my speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Manish. I must say that you're making me picture my future house quite beautifully, and I was very happy. All right, we can have one more, I guess. Any volunteer? Phil, would you like to take a chance? Since I have spoken to you before.
I was dreading it, but go on. Well,
yeah?
what are my numbers?
Numbers 1 to 4.
3.
3. All right. Your question is, since decades, humans have been trying to expand their territory far beyond the boundaries of Earth. If you could live anywhere in this universe, which planetary body would you choose to live in and why? Your question is here for everyone to see. And let me start your timer. Take it away, Phil.
So, if I could live anywhere within the universe, I'm not sure that I would actually choose to live on a planetary body. I think, to my mind, it might be considerably nicer to actually be exploring the universe. If we've got that kind of technology, I think perhaps the Starship life would suit me better, not necessarily because it would be terribly adventurous, but simply for the expectation that the amount of knowledge you would gain in kind of that kind of travel and seeing things that at the moment we can only really guess at with the use of kind of telescopes and things like that, where we're inferring everything by analyzing the data. And so I'm sure that people who are sort of working in astronomy have very vivid pictures of what things are like that they're building up. But speaking as a layman, I think, yeah, seeing these things kind of close up, potentially different star systems, the way that wouldn't it be great to go within a kind of range of a black hole that you could see how it's affecting things around it directly. And so, yeah, I don't think I would choose to be in one place. I'd choose to be a nomad. That's me.
That's a great view. I mean, excellent. Why be rooted at one place? You can just look at everything. Amazing. Thank you, Phil. Can I ask the timer if we have time for one more, or are we done?
Yeah, I think you can have one more speaker.
One more? Okay, thank you. Sorry, I meant one more volunteer. Anybody? I can't see all the screens. Okay. Mahak, would you like to go?
Sure, I'll give it a try.
Sure. 1 to 3, please. Pick one.
1.
Shreya, you're on mute.
Yeah.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. So your question is, if right now you could take only 3 things from your home with you for the rest of your life, what would those be and why?
Where am I going?
You're anywhere to the rest of your life.
All right.
Okay, you can start.
I'll probably, first of all, take my bed because I just apparently just love it and spend most of my time on it. And secondly, I'll take my laptop and my mobile phones at least, because I don't know where I'm going. At least I'll be able to communicate to people. So that's the second thing. And the third is probably some money to survive on. And yeah, I guess that's it. I'll probably, if possible, replace some of that with, the money with some good friend who can help me out. I think that's more valuable than money. So I guess those are the 3 things.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mahak. Nice. I like how you compared friends with money at the end. Good, good. All right. I guess we are done. So now at the end of the session, what we always do is we have a voting and we vote for the best table topic speaker of the day. So let me just put the link in here in the chat and you guys can all vote. Can you see it? We'll give it a minute for everyone to put in their votes. Timer, if you can time this for a minute, please. If anyone is facing any issue with voting, please let us know. All right, I guess the 1 minute is up. I had a lot of fun today conducting this session. I hope you guys too had bucket loads of fun. That's all we have for table topics. Now I'll hand it back to the TMoD to continue with the rest of the session. Back to you, Akshaya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shreya. We definitely had bucket loads of fun. I really liked bucket loads of fun. So now it's time for the most difficult question of the day, because we are getting to the toughest part of the meeting. So I thought I'll build up pace and I'll introduce you to the toughest question of this day. So behind me, you see this tower. So this has the capability to become invisible. So it has an invisible layer to it, and that is mostly a sort of hallucination that is created by placing cameras in between. And because we have advanced, we can do some digital image processing. So this invisible layer which forms over this building is largely an hallucination. So this building is often referred to as the building which can become invisible, or the invisible tall tower of the world. And this building is considered as Korea's pride. The entire Korean architecture is extremely proud of this building. And because this is the only building in the whole world which can wear an invisible mask. Any guesses what this building is called? This is a very popular term, by the way. Okay, this is a very difficult one. This is called an infinity tower, which is very close to the Korean airport. So again, I'm going to remind everyone, all the buildings that I'm talking about today have a connection, which I will reveal at the end of this meeting. So with that, as I said, it's time to get to the toughest and the most important part of the meeting, the third component of Toastmaster, which is perfection. To lead the most important segment of the meeting, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Toastmaster Abhijit on your screens.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akshaya. As Akshaya already said, we are back to the section that can help us get to the perfection part, right? I mean, you might have had different impressions of the speakers today. Some of you might have thought, oh yes, this person could have done this better. Or you might have thought, well, what's there to improve, right? These guys was awesome. Well, just hold on for a little bit more. Let's get to our expert panel who's going to start this evaluation and make us understand how this process can really help us go far along in this journey. Starting again with my evaluation panel, but this time first with the evaluator for the first speaker. We all heard a brilliant speech, but there is always room for one more improvement. To help us understand how it went, please welcome the first speech evaluator, Toastmaster Arjun, to present evaluation of Toastmaster Ram's speech. Arjun, go for it.
Hello again. With this, I'll begin the feedback session of Ram's speech. I will start with the positive points, and then I'll move on to areas for improvement. After that, I have another section in hand where Ram can actually go ahead and challenge himself. Let's begin with the positive. Toastmaster Ram began his speech with a question, which is a good way to attract eyeballs. The title, which was 4 Dimensions of Weight Management, is a good title, and it also helps him structure his speech accordingly. He stuck to the title from the start till the end. One thing I would like to bring up with everyone in this room is that before the speech, I had a chat with Ram, and I asked him what was his feedback for his previous speech and what were the areas of improvement which were listed out to him. And he told me that pauses was one place where he wanted to work upon. And I can say that he worked upon it, and during the speech, he did not have any abrupt intervals between his sentences. When there was a factual sentence, he waited for the audience to absorb it and accordingly carried on with his speech. With that, I would also like to commend him for his grammar. The usage of his vocabulary and the fact that he did not make any grammatical errors is a very, very rare quality, which most of us do not possess, including myself. Ram's diction of words is precise, and he puts equal emphasis on all words so that each and every word is equally heard by everyone. With that, I would like to move on to the points of improvement. After going through so many positives, it was very hard to come up with this, but here it goes. Vocal variety. I feel that Toastmaster Ram can improve his voice modulation and he can be more creative with it. Now, the nature of the speech was pretty factual, and his observations, his views upon the dimensions of weight management. But if there are any opportunities to change his voice or be more creative, I think he can play around with it pretty well. So he can keep this in mind. Gestures. Now, gestures are very difficult to incorporate in a virtual meeting, considering the fact that you can only see the torso and the face. But if there is any moment to use your hands or any other way to incorporate some gestures, it will probably have an instant impact because actions do speak louder than words. Coming to areas of improvement, coming to the places where I can challenge Toastmaster Ram. Toastmaster Ram's speech was of a specific nature where he spoke about weight management, he brought out facts, and he gave his observation and his thinking about it. Maybe later on in his upcoming speaking activities, he can try out speeches which are also fictional or which are out of some creative nature. Different types of themes which can keep challenging his creativity. Anything which is non-fictional or fictional or something which is anecdote based, various flavors of speeches. That's all from my side. Over to the general evaluator, Toastmaster Abhijit.
Thank you, Toastmaster Arjun, for a very elaborate evaluation. Thanks for also giving points for improvement as well as helping Ram identify the skills that he already has, the places where he's doing really well. So thanks for kind of touching base on both of them. Moving ahead, back to my evaluation panel that I introduced to all of you earlier. Let's get back one by one, all of them, to understand how the different sections and individual speakers did. We'll start in reverse order this time, and we'll first go with the grammarian of the day, Toastmaster Sumedh to present his Grammarian report.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhijit. Let me just get my massive briefs here. All right. So this was an interesting session because a lot of things that we usually do well, we did do well, but of course, there was that starting hiccup wherein we lost one of our speaker while she was speaking. And so one of the other speakers had to come in and give an impromptu speech. You talk about table topics sessions, he did it at the very beginning. And while he did that, there was one observation that I had. He went on trying to explain what Toastmasters was, as was his job. But Toastmaster Hind, while you were speaking, you attached 5 independent clauses together. Now that's a world record. So one of the things which you can work on is break out your sentences once you reach 3. Okay, 3 independent clauses, and then you stop. And then you let the people sink in, because by the time you reach the 5th one, I forgot what was the first independent clause which you had already said. Now, another example of this would be TMoD Akshaya, who actually spoke in a similar manner. She said, I am something, I am something else, I am something else, I am something else. All of them were a list of the same thing in a different way. So that made sense for her to do so. So if you want to have independent clauses that way, you have to make them in a format which is understandable. So that is, I think, the first thing which I like to bring up. Second, now I'll move on to TMoD Akshaya. TMoD Akshaya, well, excellent use of grammar. The other thing which I noticed was coherence. You know, I heard someone says, this is too much patronage, right? Sounds a little off, but I think what Toastmaster Akshaya did was put everything, every word she used in a coherent manner. And that is important. Using high-tech words is not the same as being coherent. And there is a big difference there. So kudos to Toastmaster Akshaya for that. Toastmaster Abhijit was flawless. There was one thing, he had this one moment within his speech wherein he wanted to get in the word conscious before evaluation. And so what he did was, he had already said the word evaluation. So he went back and said conscious evaluation. Instead of doing that, you could have actually put it specifically consciously doing something of that sort, adding another adjective to it. That is something, again, you can work on. It's something that I'm just highlighting it here. By the way, Toastmaster Akshaya, unserious is a word. I just checked. Oxford Dictionary says it's a word, so you got lucky there. All right. Another thing which I found out, and this is moving towards Toastmaster Srinivasan, you did your speech pretty well, but at the end, when you were trying to pass on the baton back to the GE, you kind of fumble. So maybe you have to work on those transitions. Toastmaster Ram, who put up a main show today, it was just brilliant because he used so many words in such a beautiful way, and some of it took some time to understand what he was actually trying to say. Constitution of audience, silver bullet, Pandora's box, modus operandi, excellent usage of jargon, and also understandable, relatable in some ways. So that is a really difficult art to pull off. So kudos there. At some level, when he was trying to talk about the verbs, I am something, I felt that he went into this George Carlin with a sober mode, but then he made it so serious that swing itself was very difficult to achieve. I don't know. It is a wonderful thing that he did there. For the table topic masters, I completely understand all of you were for the first time, but there were so many things which small nitty-gritties. So for Navjot, it would be, there is nothing like so like. This is something that people have picked up from Clueless, right? The movie Clueless. There's no so like, there is only like, or there is only so, okay? So you can choose one and stick to it. Then Anupam and Manish, a lot of souls, and I think the AhCounter will bring you up on that. And I think Mahak, you used the word probably and then if possible. So stick to one of them that serves the purpose and it saves you a lot of time. So with that, I'd like to conclude my assessment. All the very best and look forward to meeting you much more frequently. Thanks. Back to G. Abhijit.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sumedh, for a pretty verbose and very detailed grammarian report. Thanks for all the details there. Moving on to our next evaluator, he is the AhCounter. I talked about putting ahs and ums and unnecessary pauses kind of completely takes the fun away from the listener. Ironically, you might not understand, you might not pay attention to that or figure out that at the outset. But I know once you start doing it, you just can't get away from it. I don't know how many all hands on I have actually gone on this mode where I'm just counting ahs and ums. I'm like, I need to stop doing it. Well, let's just talk about this meeting and hear from the evaluator, Toastmaster Bhargav, how we did on this aspect. Please welcome back Toastmaster Bhargav.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhijit. I would like to first start off with summary, because I think it's always good to start off with a summary and take it from there. So we have, the verdict is that we have 60 CRPFs in the complete meeting. So there were like 13 speakers and 60 CRPFs. That's like around 4.5 CRPF. There's no half, but okay, 4 to 5 CRPF per person, which is pretty nice for a demo session. And this was the summary. And next I would start with individual performances. First, I would start with the top performers, Arjun, Ram, and Abhijit. You were flawless. Abhijit, you were almost flawless, but you had one ah at the end while you first came and tried to introduce people. And then Toastmaster Srinivasan, you had one ah. I had one pause and one filler word, Sumedh, when you came first, you didn't have any ahs and ums, but while you were evaluating, you had like around 8 to 9 ahs. That is understandable because while you think, you try to make a lot of, you try to use a lot of filler words in between. And that takes us to the table topic participant. Even they are bound to use a lot of filler words because again, they think and while they speak, right? They don't have a speech ready. So they are bound to use a lot of ahs and ums. I would start off with Navjot. Navjot, my friend, so and like are your favorite words. You used so like around 11 times and like around 2 times. Anupam, again, so and like are your favorite words. You didn't use any crutch words or repetitions or pauses, but you used like around 4 so's and 1 like. Manish, ah is your favorite word. You've used 15 ahs and 2 I means, 2 filler words, which is perfectly all right because you were thinking and you were coming up with a speech impromptu. Phil, again, I is your favorite word. You had 8 ahs and you used 2 repetitions. You made 2 repetitions in and end. Mahak, again, there were very less CRPFs, 1 filler word, so, and 1 ah. Yeah, so, and Akshaya was also flawless. That might be because I was concentrating on her questions rather than, noting the ahs and ums which she uttered. And that takes us to the end of the evaluation. So again, the summary is that, again, the second summary is that we used a lot of filler words today, that too by the table topic speakers, so and like, I mean and all. So I think, and then there was one more observation, Sumedh, from your side, I forgot. You tend to use a lot of ahs while you start a sentence. So I think that is where I think you can fix. You never use an ah while you are speaking, but while you're gonna start a sentence, you tend to use touch words. Yeah, and that brings us finally to the end of this evaluation. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bhargav, again for a detailed report and actually even going ahead and talking about individuals and how they can be better at what they want to achieve. Thank you. Last but not the least, the last evaluator is the one who's been flashing colorful cards on the screen for a while. Please welcome timer of the day, Toastmaster Srinivasan, to tell us how we'd fared on this department. Toastmaster Srinivasan, all yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhijit. Here comes today's timer report. We started the meeting at 4:05 p.m., considering that many people have been continuously joining, which was pretty good. And we had a good attendance and we started. So initially we had some extended speeches from both the Presiding Officer and TMoD. We can improve on that. We are off by a few minutes overall. I had to use the red card sometime today as well. So coming to the individual reports, Abhijit, you were quite on time, but on some places you had some 10 to 15 seconds taken extra. And with respect to AhCounter, Bhargav, you were spot on. And finally in the evaluation, you were off by around 20 seconds. And coming to the speech, Ram was perfect. He used around 7 minutes and 3 seconds. So it was pretty awesome. And the table topics speeches were mostly within time. Some were within even 1 minute, but overall the time was pretty good. And coming to the evaluation, Arjun, you were pretty good with the evaluation and you were also spot on. With that, I would like to wrap my timer report. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Srinivasan, for to the point timer report. Now it's time for the GE evaluation. I promised all of you that that I'll come back and present the evaluation of the general's proceedings, and that's what I'm going to do. Starting from the beginning, Presiding Officer Hind had to take a diving catch when we had technology play spoil sport and Fathima suddenly was disrupted. And I think this is something that you are never prepared for. You have to just think of something on the feet and keep it going. And I think you did a great job in that. So it is something that everybody can learn from. We all get into these situations every now and then. So good job there. Toastmaster of the day, Akshaya, I think the content that you used was very good. It was very relatable, very engaging. Overall, I think you did a brilliant job to ensure that whatever things you brought up actually were relatable to not just the local audience, but also from our friends in Dublin, so that everybody feels more inclusive. And that's something that goes into the core philosophy of Toastmasters. So thanks for coming up with a very thoughtful agenda and very thoughtful content that you used today. Looking at my notes, coming to Toastmaster Ram, I think the evaluation from Toastmaster Arjun was very comprehensive, covered everything. I would like to just add one small thing. If Ram started well with audience engagement by asking a question, but if that audience engagement part could also be incorporated in the body and maybe somewhere in the late part of the speech, that would actually include everybody and make a speech even more fun, because this is something that initially when everybody raised hands, everybody could relate to. Maybe somebody could share something or something of that sort could be incorporated in the speech to make it more engaging. Coming to other speakers, Toastmaster Shreya, you did again did a very great job. It is a demo meeting. It's not a regular meeting. We have 2-point agenda here. The first thing was to let everybody know what this table topic is all about. And then the names happen to be archaic and they had some meaning when Toastmasters started, but translating into what it really means and how it can help all of us in our professional circles was very important. You did that very well. Secondly, you also kept a very mixed bag of topics that actually gave everybody an opportunity to express themselves. So I think that's, again, came off very well. It was really, really heartening to see everybody who was thrown the challenge actually did not go back on it and decided to take a shot. So that's an appreciation for the new audience that we had. First time Toastmasters, I think you did a great job. Give an applause to yourself whenever you want to. So you did really well there. Now, last but not the least, Toastmaster Sumedh, I think your Grammarian report was very nice in terms of looking into different aspects of grammar that we can all use better. But I think you went a lot over time. So I think that's something that you need to keep in mind. Try to keep the reports concise. I will not take much time of myself. I'll try to leave you with a pro tip, which I learned from another Toastmaster session. Whenever I'm in a virtual meeting, I'm confused where to look. Should I look at the slides? Should I look at the speaker view? Should I look at the middle part of my laptop? But then I heard saying that you need to look at right at where you see the green light on your Mac, because that's where your audience is. And if you really want to make the connection, the kind of connection that we all want in a real meeting, which is eye contact, look into that green hole. And you are going to definitely get much more engagement from the people from the other side. With that, I hope you enjoyed today's meeting. I will put the baton back to the Toastmaster of the day to conclude her brilliant presentation that she had prepared for us so far. Thank you, everybody. Toastmaster Akshaya, please welcome Toastmaster Akshaya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhijit. Yay, we've come to the end of the meeting and it's time to get the party started. So to get the party started, here comes the last picture of the day. This is the easiest one. So because you always save the best piece for the last. So this is the money minting walk big property in Singapore. Here it goes. What is this? World's largest casino. Yes, it's the Marina Bay Sands in Singapore. So now I will recollect all the pictures which I showed in the entire meeting, and now it's time to connect the dots. These are the pictures which I showed. Vedant Sauda in Bangalore, which is in India. Next one is the Guinness Brewery, which is in Dublin. And the next one is the Sydney Opera House. And the next one is the Canada Tower, which is the CN Tower. The next one is the Infinity Tower in Seoul. And this is Marina Bay Sands in Singapore. Singapore, Australia, Korea, Canada, Ireland, India. What connects all these dots?
Arista branches.
Yes, exactly. Someone got this right. All the branches of Arista outside USA. That was the metal link which was the link between everyone. Good job. Who got that right, by the way?
That's a myth.
Oh,
he's an ardent fan of Arista.
Oh, let's give a big round of applause. This was easier, but still.
I was going to go for Commonwealth nations, but I thought maybe Singapore is not.
Yeah.
This is a democracy.
Yeah. So that was the link which was connecting all. So all I wanted to say was we're all one, and this is our room. Thank you for coming here. And with that, we had bucket loads of fun today, and I hope everybody shares the same opinion. So before we close the meeting, we have one small task that is pending. We also elect the best speaker and best evaluator. So please use the link which I'm going to paste on the chat to vote for whom you think deserves to be the best speaker and best evaluator for today. So let's take 30 seconds to do this. I request the timer to let me know after 30 seconds, maybe. Are we done?
I think Srinivasan had some technical issues. I think we are done. We are already 45 seconds.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So with that, thank you everybody for keeping the enthusiasm. And I think I'm running out of music. So I'm just going to pass on the meeting to Toastmaster Hind to conclude and announce the winner for the last bunch of votes that we gathered. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Toastmaster Hind.
Thank you, Akshaya. Not diving to catch a catch this time. Thank you everybody for joining in. Before I do a couple of concluding remarks, here are the winners. If you have any favorites for best table topic speaker or best evaluator, Let me know. You can speak up now. Okay. Let's break the first rule of Toastmasters. Unmute yourself. You can speak now.
Akshaya, best speaker.
All right. There's a very big fight between Akshaya and another speaker, but the crown goes to our prepared speaker himself, Ram. Congratulations, Ram, with who I'm guessing had to drop out for some reason, but I'd convey my congratulations to and our congratulations to him otherwise. Next up, best evaluator.
Abhijit.
Wow, another close race.
Arjun.
All right, you are on a spree of wrong guessing today. It's Abhijit. Congratulations, Abhijit, for the best evaluator. It was a very comprehensive and thorough evaluation. I hope everybody had at least something to take out of it. And finally, best table topics,
Manish.
which I must say was such a clean sweep victory.
Phil.
Manish.
Yep. Phil, congratulations. You just blew it out of the park with 70% votes. 70%, that kind of majority is not seen anywhere. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
What a meeting, what an amazing meeting. We had some hiccups, unavoidable in any meeting. We had a rocky start, but well, that's how we roll. In the day and age of internet and virtual meetings, can't do much about it, right? If your internet goes for a toss, it goes for a toss. Before I conclude, I'd like to just pinpoint two things. One, if you think you found some value in the meeting today, and if you think it can be of value to yourself, make sure, in fact, we'll reach out to you. Don't worry about that. We are good at nagging. We'll definitely reach out to you. But if you would like to take the first step itself, feel free to reach out to us. Our GHC handle is Toastmasters BLR and our email is Toastmaster BLR officers. And the next thing is, if you think we didn't do a good job here, then why don't you join along and help us do a good job? I mean, if you thought that we were not evaluating good, if you thought that I was just doing the worst job at beginning the meeting, I invite you. In fact, I urge you to come along and help us become better. See, this is not a community where we will make anybody better. This is a collective, this is a platform for collective growth. You evaluate me, I evaluate you, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. That's how it works. And that's how it's going to work here. That's how we roll it around. I certainly hope that you would find some value in at least joining us as a guest in the future meetings. And I'd be most excited if you would love to become a member. I would right now post a link for a form where you can just show your interest if you feel like it. And if you don't, then as I said, we don't behind you anyway. Give me just half a second. And here, this is the form. Please let us know if let us know of your interest. We'd love to have you in further meetings. We'd love to have you take more roles, take more time-taking roles, which require preparation and whatnot. See, this is a platform where the more you try, the more you become better. Well, after saying that, I realized that's any other platform. So why not give it a shot? See you around. Hopefully I see you around, all of you in our future meetings. And for the rest of the core Toastmasters Club members, I'll definitely see you around in the next meeting. With that, good afternoon, good day, good night, people.